Let us go to, let's see. Alan, Dallas, Texas, the great WBAP. Go.
Mr. Levin, thank you for what you do. A voice of truth in a world of lies, my friend. I happen to live in Dallas, Texas, and on weekends, I spend some of my free weekends with a group of border volunteers. And I'll tell you right now, Jeb Bush doesn't have a clue as to what goes on the border in Texas.
No, you know where he is today?
He's never seen a rape tree, okay? And he's never seen the infirmed and the young kids left behind because they can't keep up. And he's going to tell us about love? Give me a break.
I don't think a lot of people know what goes on who don't live near the border or these towns and cities, because they get all this propaganda from the media through these politicians and these staffer hacks and consultant hacks that got to secure the border, because what's happening down there is inhumane. Because you don't enforce the border. You know where Jeb Bush is today? He's had a meeting at Barclays on Wall Street. You know what Barclays is? It's an investment firm. It's a financial institution.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the ranches that we are invited to stand watch on and help protect these ranchers and their property is 50 miles north of the Mexican border.
Isn't that amazing?
On a given weekend, there's a couple of hundred of them that we report on a weekend. That's how quickly and how many flow through the United States on any given weekend. And just multiply that by probably 20 sectors just within the state of Texas.
It's scary.
By the bushel.
But, you know, as you heard Nancy Pelosi say, she heard them, the Republicans, say to the Irish, if it was you, this would be easy. Do you agree with me that she's a complete knucklehead, yes or no?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. She'd do better if she paid attention to what's going on in California.
Has she ever been on the border with you guys?
Most of the folks that have been on the border with us, Mark, have been Texas politicians, and most of them have been there, including the governor. So they've seen firsthand what goes on. But outside of the Texas legislature and folks here in Texas, I don't know of anybody else that showed up.
There's anarchy on the border right now, isn't there? Because the Border Patrol they have their hands tied too.
You take your life in your hands if you get down in the Rio Grande, right down by the river. It's very, very dangerous.
I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to be careful because you're on national radio. There's millions of people listening. But it didn't escape me. You said a rape tree. What is a rape tree?
A rape tree is a tree where the coyotes and the folks that bring the illegals across the border take advantage of the females in the groups that are coming across and have their way with them. And it's a tradition among the coyotes to basically hang the ladies' underwear on a tree.
Oh, great.
Somewhere on the property.
That's disgusting. You know, this is another reason to secure the border so these people aren't abused.
I couldn't agree with you more wholeheartedly. You do the folks a favor that are coming across because they get abused by their own. So,
I tell you. All right, thank you, my friend. You know, folks, you really need to be skeptical of what people are telling you, and I mean the media and politicians. And when they repeat it ad nauseum, you really, really need to have your guard up. These politicians who are telling us comprehensive immigration reform, many of them have visited the border, but they're not on the border day in and day out every weekend like this guy and so many other people who live there, or even 50 miles from the border, where these horrendous criminal and inhumane acts are taking place. People are dying. People are being left in the desert. People are being raped, and on and on and on. Because you have anarchy on the border. And we have a responsibility to secure the border both for this country and to prevent this type of activity. This is anarchy. That's what happens when you have the breakdown of the rule of law. And you have these sleazeballs, the criminal element that takes advantage of that. So whether it's Jeb Bush or Barack Obama or these ethnic front groups that are pushing really a liberal agenda, a left-wing agenda, a central government agenda, they're not really standing up for these poor people who are coming into this country, escaping from their countries to come into this country and are abused and mistreated. You have a lawful immigration system where people have to go through a process where we have control over our border. There would be less of this. There would be less of this. We have it all upside down. It's just like the history of the civil rights movement. All of a sudden, the Democrat Party stands for civil rights, when it was the Democrat Party that the civil rights movement rose up against. When it was the Republican Party that grew out of the anti-slavery movement, the abolitionists. to fight the Democrats. So much misinformation, it's intentional, and it's disgusting.